Hello all, Pit Bike Mike. On to our second demo. We are doing the Scout Rouge with my backpack. So we will see what we see. Alright, so we've got ignition on the side. This one doesn't have the fancy display. This one's got just your basic analog. No fuel gauge, which definitely, you know, I'm not a big fan of. So let's take a look. This one's got the 100 horsepower motor in it, 72 foot-pound of torques, 525 pounds, a little bit heavier of a clutch. Interesting, there is not you know, where if you have the foot peg down and you put it into first, it won't shut off. So that was kind of interesting. Definitely something to keep track of in your mind, you know, not to leave your little foot peg down. All right, let's see how this thing feels. A nice clunky transmission. Right off the bat with those first couple bumps, definitely nowhere near as comfortable as the as that big boy bike. So having the mirrors down low like this, it's kind of weird, I'll admit. It is a little weird having the mirrors down so low. Let's try getting into neutral on this thing, see how that goes. Oh, look at that. It's super easy to get into neutral. Definitely the power delivery on this thing is very, very nice. Seating position's fairly comfortable. Unfortunately, no cruise control, which, you know, that's obviously that is a terrible, terrible thing. But this thing does have crash bars on it, which is kind of cool. Highway bars, crash bars, whatever you want to call them. But all in all, not bad. Definitely, like I said, not as comfortable as the big boy, but definitely not a bad feeling bike at all. This thing definitely has a lot of get up and go to it. I like the power delivery of this thing. Oh yeah, this is a really nice power feel on this thing. In a way, I kind of like that there's not all those like different riding modes on this to where you have to worry about like, oh, if I'm in the wrong one, it's gonna have a weird snatchy throttle. It's like, all right, whatever it's in, you know. And in a way, I kind of like the simplicity of that. Like I said, I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about these mirrors being below my arms. It's definitely a weird feel. You know, like kind of glancing down to try to see. Because like the right hand side, for some reason, I don't know if I just don't have it set up right, but I can't really see too well without having to like lift up my arm. So, you know, pluses and minuses. Pluses and minuses. So, as you can see, I hope you can see, we do have a gear position indicator. We have an RPM gauge down yonder on the display, which, you know, it's not like we have a whole lot on the display. Let's see what else we got. We got, you know, battery voltage, which I guess is cool to have. You got your miles, your trip A, trip, no, just trip. Just a singular trip. Interesting. And then the RPM gauge. So one thing to note is that supposedly these bikes have a rear cylinder deactivation, which I guess when you're sitting at a light or something like that, they are supposed to deactivate the rear cylinder. I don't know. It's kind of cool, kind of, I don't know, interesting little gimmick, I guess. It's something. It is something. I'll admit though, I kind of do like these cruisers because it's like definitely not having like that, like, you know, the weight on my wrist. I definitely don't feel like it's gonna go as numb as quick. Like, I might still have a little bit of numbness just because, you know, nerve damage life. But look at that, I somehow went into neutral instead of second. That was quite odd. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe I didn't go confidently enough into gear? I'm not really sure on that one. And now here we are with the little whee, with the little up and down, the little roller coaster road, which I'll admit it's kind of fun being on this little roller coaster road. I think on my Z900 I'd probably be pulling the front wheel, which would probably scare me a little bit, but you know, it'd be exciting. It'd be exciting. Like, I definitely kind of feel like the tips of my fingers kind of a little something something, but I guess because like they're so high up, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird having like my hands high up like that. Like, I guess getting the blood flow to my fingertips is would be a little something of note that I'll have to consider. It'd be nice if I had cruise control, I'll tell you that. That would be a really, really nice thing. So braking. Once again, the brakes, they're firm. They stop you. Like, they just, like, they're progressive. Like, they work. They're not sport bike brakes, and you know, like I said, I still think Harley kind of has the braking department a little bit better, at least on some of their bikes. Obviously, some of their bikes kind of suck, but you know, it's kind of hard to compare, because this would be like something like a Sportster line, I believe. So you know, like probably like I don't even know what they have in their Sportster line anymore. I don't know. It's whatever. I'm just rambling. I'll admit, this bike doesn't feel like I can balance it as well as the bigger one. Like, you know, doing like those slow speed pieces, like with the big bike, I felt like I was able to just kind of very easily just kind of keep it centered and not have to worry about it teeter-tottering. But for this one, I feel like I kind of like felt like a little bit more like, oh, I need to try to make sure I find my balance point on this bike. Definitely has a better sounding motor than the bigger Super Chief, which, you know, like, I kind of expected the Super Chief to sound more like this, where it actually sounded like kind of muscular, kind of, you know, just a better sounding motor. Like it definitely kind of, I don't know, slightly disappointed with the bigger bike and having that weird sounding motor. But definitely the power delivery of this bike, getting back onto actual this bike, is very good. It is very good, and for, you know, starting price of anywhere between $12.7 to, you know, $14.7 thousand, you know, that's not bad. It's not bad. Still definitely feel like I could have used cruise control. And I am noticing that my right hand is starting to go numb already, which kind of sucks, honestly. Kind of makes me sad that the hand's going numb already. It's definitely not a good sign for me, because we're not even doing that much of riding, and like this is nice back roads that where I would be kind of, you know, my typical riding anyway. So if I'm already experiencing this type of fatigue this early on, that doesn't really bode well for me, unfortunately, for this bike. That is a very sad thing. Tragic also. It's not a bad bike though. Don't get me wrong, it's really not a bad bike. It just, being an old crippled man like I am, you know, it definitely does not help anything. Alright, getting on it. Well, that was full throttle. You know, it's not a sport bike, but definitely not a bad feel. It definitely gets up to speed without too much hassle or complaints. Cruising at like, we're almost at 60 mile an hour, and we're sitting at like 2800 or 2900 RPM, something like that, which isn't bad. It's a nice low nice low gearing it seems to have. So I guess on a side note, at least this is a really nice day to be doing demo rides, because I think it's only supposed to get up to like 81 as a maximum today. So definitely it's a nice comfortable day to be out riding, especially riding free motorcycles that, you know, yeah. The seat, as I've been riding on this seat, it's okay. It's okay. It's still not like that big boy seat on the Super Chief, which I don't know. It's okay. It gets the job done, I guess. I'll definitely admit I'm not like in love with the bike. Like, it's not a bad bike, don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely not in love with this like I thought I would be, which is kind of sad. Well, so after I check in with my backpack, see how she feels back there, I'm probably gonna end it off, because there's really not much to say about this bike. It's a good bike, don't get me wrong. It's just not the bike for me. It's terrible, actually. I really came into this really kind of looking forward to riding this bike, and I'll admit I've been slightly disappointed. Well, let's talk to my backpack. How you feeling back there? You don't like it? Nope. Man, Huh? Man, so we got the slow head shake of disapproval from the backpack. Ah, man. Backpack not approved on this one.
I was done before we even got put out of on sleep.
She says it's so uncomfortable that she was done with this bike before we even left the lot. Man, ooh, those are some harsh words coming from the backpack. Well, you know, obviously don't take my word as gospel. Goes into neutral a lot easier than the other bike, but like I said, don't take my word for gospel. You know, definitely, if you're interested in these, definitely the motor is great, transmission feels good. You know, give it a ride for yourself to see if, you know, if it suits you, but definitely for the pit bike, it is not pit bike approved. It's a terrible thing to say, because I really, really wanted to like this bike. Well, on that terrible bombshell of a note, hope you all like, subscribe. Pit Bike Mike out.